Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Papo de Teacher as part of the warm-up for Semana do Inglês para o Trabalho. And our talk today will be understanding your real level of English. Okay? This is a pretty common question people bring to me. They say, oh, teacher, I think I have intermediate, or maybe I'm pre-intermediate. And I'm going to explain why you need to identify that and how I'm going to help you giving you tools for you to use in your favor so that you really understand where you are. Okay, so can everybody hear me really well? Do you have any problems to hear me? No? Okay, then. Before I go to the details of these, we first need to understand what it is, the level of English, based on what? And then we have the situation. People, we have a very peculiar situation when it comes to speaking English. People don't really know how to level that and how to identify that. Why is that? English is classified, at least here in Brazil, as a free course. As a free course, anybody, not everybody, but anybody who wants to teach English can develop a method based on some certain criteria to specify which is level basic, intermediate, and advanced. So then you open a wide range of possibilities of what is really basic levels, what is really intermediate, and what is really advanced. And I have interviewed students that say, "Oh, teacher," when I say I have advanced level, and then when I start interviewing this student he tells me, "Teacher, I have finished advanced level on that method, on that school." Oh, so then I receive this student as an advanced. And when I see this student, his communication is really poor. And then I compare it to the wall made of bricks. You see a wall here behind me. We have a wall. We have here, okay, I'm in the office here. I have 4 walls. I'm surrounded by walls. And what are walls made of? They're made of bricks, tijolos. So if we compare a wall, building a wall, putting the bricks, how do we build a wall? We use bricks, okay? So we put one brick right next to the other, and then we put the first row, the second row, the third row, and so on. But imagine, take this as your level of English. As it's a free course, there is not really a real classification of what is basic level, official classification. But what I like to do, and I have been doing this since forever, since I started teaching, I like to base the levels and to level the students according to the Common European Framework of Reference. This is a document or a criteria established not by me, but it's like very the most known linguistic linguists in the world. So what do you need to know, and what do you have to be able to do if you're a basic speaker of a European language, if you are an intermediate speaker, or if you are a native or proficient, like a proficient or advanced speaker. And these criteria in the Common European Framework of Reference, we have 6 big steps. So, which are A1, A2, they are basic levels. So, if you are A1, A2, you are a basic speaker of the language with some limitations. If you are B1, B2, you are independent speaker. And when you are C1, C2, you are proficient speaker. For each of these levels, of course, you have the possibility of doing more or less with your communication in English. But what you have to understand is all of us, we start on level A1. Of course, for our mother tongue, for Portuguese, as native speakers of Portuguese or Spanish, whatever, we started learning it when we were kids. So when we were kids, we were how and if you have kids or if you see when kids start speaking, what do? They first start speaking words. So you are in the word level. A child is in a word like 1, 2 years old. They are in the word level. They're communicating according to the water, water, and then the whole family says, "Oh, would you like some water? Okay, so here's water for you, water for you." So the kid starts learning that, oh, when she says, she or he, they say water, someone will bring this for them to drink. And then you want to say like small words. This is the communication in basic levels. And then after that, you have some short sentences for concrete needs. I want to go to the toilet. I need kids. I need to pee. I need to poo. Um, I need to. I'm hungry. I'm tired. So then you start this communication um, in basic structures for concrete needs. And then you move on to like more complex uh, structures and more complex insights. And then you can do that. When you leave the basic level and you get to the independent level, as a foreign speaker, now I'm speaking about English. If you are a truly independent speaker, levels B1 or B2, you are supposed to be able to communicate really well at work. If you are B2 and you are not confident yet, that's the point. I explained all of this to explain about this wall here. So imagine behind me, we are building a wall. We're going to build this wall. We have no wall here behind me, and we are building it using bricks. If I have a very detailed and a thorough definition of the abilities we need to have in levels A1, A2, B1, B2, imagine from the bottom to the top, we are going to put all the bricks. So A1 bricks, A2 bricks, B1, B2, C1, and C2. And then we have this beautiful wall behind me. But imagine that because you don't have this very thorough definition, very deep definition, very clear definition, your wall was built fast, the bricks are not there, and you have some holes in your bricks, in your wall. This is your communication in English. So sometimes you have some knowledge of upper intermediate or advanced levels, but what happens? You are not able to communicate because there are some A1 or A2 or B1 bricks that were not put in the moment they were supposed to be there. Do you understand? Does it make sense? So you need to understand that all your communication will come from concrete needs and basic structures to abstract needs or abstract hypotheses and more complex structures. Do you understand? Basic structures and concrete needs to complex structures and hypotheses or abstract needs. And I'm going to explain how. I'm going to share my screen here, and I can do that on Instagram, but you can watch it on YouTube, okay? I'm going to be speaking, but you won't be able to see my screen. There is not this possibility on Instagram, okay? But I will. Where is the file that I want to share with you? This is called this file, this document that is a document that I prepared, and you have a score there. You are all going to receive these working really beautifully on class 1 of Semana do Inglês para o Trabalho. So if you haven't subscribed yet for Semana do Inglês para o Trabalho, it's going to start this Sunday, and everybody who participates in the first class will receive this to start scoring your level of English. Okay, this is the first step. This is something that I do when I interview students when they start becoming when they become my students. So this is a document, a very important document to guide you through your learning process and your study plan. So here, am I sharing the screen? Can you see the screen here? Yes, you can. I'm going to, yeah, here. This is going to be better. No, I think this one is better here. So here, can you see this? Look, I increased a little bit here, the screen. So we have here the definition from each level. What do you have to do in level A1, for example, a beginner speaker? You need to be able to understand and use familiar everyday expressions and very basic phrases aimed at the satisfaction of needs of a concrete type. So, familiar everyday expressions, basic phrases, and concrete type. What is a concrete type for a beginner? Concrete needs. I need to eat, I need to drink, I need to take a plane, I need to check in a hotel, I need to sleep, I I need to work, I have to take the bus. So these are concrete needs, things you really need to do in your everyday routine. This is the starting point of the whole communication. You are not supposed to start your communication in English by elaborating some hypothesis in English, and I will get to that. What is elaborate some hypothesis? Imagine you are talking to a supplier, and you are going to have this supplier will not deliver the parts in time for you for your production line, okay, for your assembly line. And then if you are working with your workmates, you have to think of other hypotheses. If supplier A doesn't deliver the parts in time for a production, we will have to bring it by air. This is a situation that it's common if you work like in supply chain, like as I worked. And you need to think of hypotheses of to solve problems. Remember that speaking English is your ability. Speaking English at work refers to your ability of solving problems that you have in the company. Okay, so this is really speaking English. So how well can you do that? I don't expect a beginner speaker to elaborate this sentence. And why am I saying that? Because probably you know, now that I'm saying and that I'm making this clear, you probably agree with me. Oh, that's right. But what I see is that many beginner speakers they are trying to say this. There is a constant increase in your communication. Don't want You can't expect to be able to say that if you don't have the basis of English. And even though it may be very obvious now that I'm saying that, for many people it isn't. I have lost count of how many students they want to say this. Oh, if the supplier A doesn't deliver the parts in time, but they just want me to give them the words. They don't really know. And that's why they never get independent in their learning process. Oh, English is so difficult. To speak English is so, I feel like I will never be able to communicate in English. If you have holes in your wall related to A1 and A2 levels, if you have difficulties to communicate basic needs, you probably have difficulties forever if you don't solve that problems before. You understand? Does it make sense, people? Can I continue in English, or this is something you would like me to bring to you in Portuguese? You can be honest. We are going to have time to speak English, but I need these talks here. I really to help you understand the situation. So that's why sometimes I think at this moment, speaking Portuguese may be helpful, may be better for you if you don't really know what I'm saying. Can I continue in Portuguese, or you prefer me to speak a little bit of Portuguese? Okay, I will keep in English because Silvio said that he was the first. Gaia said here too. I will continue in English there. If you can get the idea, okay? Most important now is that you get the idea of what I'm saying. So then, in basic levels, coming back here to my screen, to this mapa do inglês, the English map, another skill that you need to be able to do if you are A1, a real A1. Introduce yourself and others. Ask questions about personal details. For example, where do you live? What do you know about this topic? So like basic stuff, okay? And also you need to be able to interact in a simple way. Again, simple way. Good morning, good afternoon. The weather is hot today. I don't like this weather. Oh, I prefer this one. Like basic communication. Respect your level of English. Don't push too hard on you, comparing. Oh, if I were talking Portuguese, I would be able to say a lot more things. Of course you would. You are a native Portuguese speaker. Don't push too hard on you. But understand that if you are able to do these three things, you have completed A1 level. So all the bricks on your wall related to A1 level are there. Okay, we just want to make sure. And when you receive this material after the first class, you are going to download it. You are going to make a copy to your computer, okay? Because this is an Excel file, and all the formulas that you have behind it to score, to help you score your English level, you need to make a copy of this file to your computer, and then you do it. I really want you to do it honestly. Think, when you open this file on your computer, just look at it and say, okay, I can do that. Oh no, I don't think I can do that. So then this is going to be the starting point for your real level, for you to understand your real level of English, okay? And then after that, you go to the second step of this. Imagine that your letter to the fluency and to speaking fluently and confidently is like steps. So you have to go up these steps. So after you complete the first step, level A1, you are going to level A2, which is elementary. If you are at this level, you need to be able to understand sentences and frequently used expressions. For example, very basic personal and family information, shopping, local geography, employment. What is local geography? Oh, where's the supermarket? Oh, it's at the end of the street. Just go down all the way in the street, turn left. You're going to find the supermarket there. Okay? So this is like local geography. Next, in level A2, yet in level A2, you have to understand simple and routine tasks, simple and direct exchange of information on familiar and routine matters. So everything related to familiar and routine, you need to be able to communicate with using simple structures. Okay? I have just remembered of a story of a student a long time ago. I will share with you in the end. I don't want you to make this mistake, okay? Just keep following here with me. So then we have the simple and routine tasks. And also in level A2, you need to be able to describe simple terms aspects of your background, immediate environment, and everything related to your immediate need. I need to, I need to cook dinner after this class, and I need to buy like tomato sauce in the supermarket because I ran out of tomatoes, of tomato sauce. So I need to be able at least to explain this. And if you have seen the class or this talk a few days ago, when I said that what I do in my mind, if I don't have anybody to talk, I will think of that in English. How well can I say that in English? I have to go, okay, I have to cook dinner after this class, and I ran out of tomato sauce, so I need to go to the supermarket and get it. Can you say that to you? If you were talking to someone, would you be able to say that to this other person? I want you to have remember that movie with Tom Hanks that had the ball, Wilson. He was talking to the ball. So have something like that in your life for you to practice English that you can keep with you. So everywhere you are, you will be able to talk in English to this object, to your Wilson. So create your own Wilson, okay? So these are the elementary A1 and A2 skills you need to be able to develop, okay? And then if you have these breaks of A1 and A2 really uh, well put on your wall, you move to the independent levels, which are levels B1 and B2, in a more uh, smooth way. It's going to be easier for you, okay, for you to speak at work. If you have the basis, the foundation is really good, then you can move. Uh, it's like building a house. You can only build floors, like many stores, once you have a good foundation. Otherwise, everything's going to collapse. And this is what happens to many people. Why you, this is probably why you feel that you are never going to be able to speak English, even though you have studied English many times. If you haven't covered and if you haven't checked this, it will always be a problem for you. You will always continue running and getting nowhere. So then you go to the B1 and B2 levels, which are intermediate and upper intermediate. And I don't know if this information I'm going to share with you is new or not, but what you need to communicate well, confidently, and fluently at work, it's no more than levels B1 and B2. When you finish level B1, you are supposed to be able to speak independently. So considering that at work, you are going to deal with, you have technical information about your work. You have technical vocabulary about your work. Your communication in English should be okay once you have the, the previous levels well done. But what happens here? Many of you, many of you don't have this well done. So you have many gaps on your wall, and we have to come back and do that again. Okay, so in level B1, for example, you need to be able uh, to understand the main points of clear instructions related to familiar matters at work, school, or leisure. Okay, so you have to do that. You have to deal, you have to be able to deal with most situations likely to arise while traveling. Imagine you're traveling to the United States, and what kind of situations you may face. Like the basic ones, you need to check in a hotel. Okay, so they are covered in basic levels. You need to check in a hotel. You need to check in in a restaurant. You have to talk to the waiter. You have to talk to the front desk of the hotel. Maybe you have a problem in your shower. Imagine you go to the hotel and you have a problem in your shower. You need to call the front desk and say, okay, I have a problem in my shower. Can someone come here and check it on? Okay. So um, for a B1 speaker, you, a real B1 speaker, you should be able to do that. Okay. You can produce simple connected texts based on familiar and personal interest. Describe experiences and events, dreams, hopes, ambitions. Give reasons and explanations for opinions and plans. You have all of this in the map of English, okay? You are going to receive it as an extra material. And then you cover all B1, you cover B1 level. And when we look in details of what is the grammar points covered in each of these levels, the new grammar points end after you finish level B1. After B1, you just need to review and increase your vocabulary basis. How? Saying the same thing in a more beautiful way. And then you go to B2. You have a more sophisticated communication, not a very clear and straight communication. You can think of hypotheses in a wider range of possibilities. Okay. Level B2, you need to be able to understand the main ideas of complex texts on both concrete and abstract topics. So imagine you receive a document and you need to be able to understand what that document is saying. You can interact with fluency and spontaneity, because until then, you are probably speaking like robot. You are not so spontaneous. You have to think to speak, think and speak. And as you move on, you are going to be more spontaneous speaking. Okay. You can produce detailed text, clear text on a wide range of subjects. You can explain your point of view on something that's related to some some areas of your expertise. So you are an engineer, so you can write documents and you can defend your point of view. You can disagree, writing, both writing and speaking. If you have all these previous levels, previous previous levels, well done. So this is what happens, okay? And then we get to level C1 and C2. Usually these students just want some more conversation, or like uh, you can be looking forward to becoming a C1 and C2 student, okay? But most of my students, if you work like in a multinational company, level B1 is your most urgent uh, desire, should be your most urgent goal, and then moving to B2, which will have you speaking confidently really well. Okay. So I'm not going to explain about C1 and C2 now, but you have this possibility to complete this document once you complete class 1 of Semana do Inglês para Trabalho. Okay? So far, so good. I have seen that many of you sent lots of questions and I couldn't read it all. What do we have here? Let me come back and see. I do the same driving, and I think the other drivers think that I'm crazy. That's okay. That's okay. I speak all by myself all the time. I do that, and I thought I was crazy to talk to myself. Oh, I do that since always. People who live with me, they know that I talk by myself. I don't need to be with you to be talking to you. Or if I'm thinking of you and I have to say something to you, I will be talking. It's crazy, I know. But just keep going. What do I have here? So far, so good. Okay. So, people, um, what I was telling, it was about this student. Okay. I had a student. She came to me a long time ago, mm, like when I was opening the school, when I was like what we call in Portuguese, eu presa. I was the owner, I was the teacher, I was a receptionist, I was everything. Okay, in that moment, she came to me. She was a very nice student, but she said, Fabi, I'm intermediate level. I studied in, she mentioned the school she had studied, a big school, a famous school, a famous brand, and said, I'm intermediate and I want to continue from intermediate on. And when I started, okay, then, so you want to start on intermediate, was a private student, and she wanted to start on intermediate level, and then uh, she was like slippering. Do you understand? Slippering, to slipper, escorregar, patinar, and she wouldn't move. She wouldn't move. And okay, I said, okay, it might be a problem with me. I'm not being able to teach her, even though I thought, I suspected it was something else. So there was another teacher that worked with me by the time, and I said, can you teach her some classes? And I really couldn't. I needed to. She started having classes with another teacher because I was pregnant and I left to have my baby 13 years ago. He will be 13 in a few days. And then this was 13 years ago. And the other teacher started teaching her. And in the end, she came to me and said, Fabi, it's really tough teaching this student. And she was a very experienced teacher too. Said, why do you think that, teacher? And the same thing that she told me, it was what I suspected. Um, she didn't have A1 and A2 levels very well done, but she wouldn't accept it. In fact, she would have it would be necessary for her to review all A1 and A2 level. And she needed to respect the fact that she needed to try to speak. She was a psychologist. She worked for the HR of a very big company, multinational company, and she wanted to speak in, in English with the same ability that she had to speak Portuguese. And I wanted to talk to her, my dear, try to speak it in a more simple way. You don't need to say everything now, okay? You don't need to try to say, but in Portuguese I can do that. Okay, you are a native speaker of Portuguese. And you're in, I couldn't say that in like so straightforward, like in the city, but okay, your English is basic. Even though you know some vocabulary of intermediate level, and you can read documents, but your communication in English is poor. And in a way that she wouldn't accept getting down some steps in order to communicate things in a simple way and then move forward. You understand? So if you are having this problem, my from the bottom of my heart, I would say try to speak in a way that you can communicate your idea. It might not be beautiful English so far. So now, oh, my English is not beautiful. I have that workmate or the other manager or the other engineer. They speak better than I do. Don't worry about that. Just worry about getting better every day. So if you're the best you can do now to communicate your idea is using simple structures, short sentences, but your idea is communicated. That's what you have to do. And then you move forward. And this is going to happen naturally. And what do I do? Okay, during Semana do Inglês para o Trabalho, you are going to have this document. You are going to be able to complete it by yourselves. That's it. Gaia put here, receive and deliver the message. That's it. That's what you have to do. And during Semana do Inglês para o Trabalho, you are going to have the opportunity, you are going to understand everything that I'm saying here in details. Some examples, some practice, some extra material you're going to receive. But then, of course, you know that I'm going to open a new group now next week. So if you feel that you need to communicate better and you want to be guided through this process, we're going to have the chance of doing that. Okay. Um, so then you're going to have in the moment, for example, for the students who are if you decide to join me, you don't have to. You can participate in the free classes, understand, get this material, okay, and prepare your own study plan and continue your life of English student and speaker. But if you want to be helped and be guided in this process, what do you have to do? You are going to start. We're going to have the first classes. We're going to complete this, but then in the session 8WI, you have all of this vocabulary to help you increase your communication, but in a logical and in an organized way. Because when you see me, for example, in the videos you have on YouTube or on Instagram, you have these videos, three ways of saying of sharing your opinion in English in a meeting in English. Okay, that's okay. Three ways. It helps you, but what if you have all of these in an organized way? Okay, so it would be it's this way that I work with these students to guide them from the level you are. It doesn't matter if it's A1, A2, B1, or B2. And here I have Juliana said here on YouTube, I'm in doubt if I am a B1 or B2. It doesn't matter. You're going to take this class. You're going to take this material. On the first class of Semana Linguística do Trabalho, you have this map of English. In the third class, you are going to receive, on the second class, you have the X-ray questionnaire. X-ray questionnaire. You're going to receive it to complete. It's a very nice document too. And then in the third class, we are going to have a material to close all this window. We are going to open a window on class 1, and then we complete it on class 2, and on class 3, you are going to have the level test. And then you will be able to check it in a more thorough way, okay, in a more deep way, right? So in this case, is what I say. And I was talking to another student the other day, and he wanted to talk to me. And as a journalist, he said the same. Okay, I would like to be able to speak English in the same speed that I speak Portuguese. And I don't feel I can do that. I say, you can't. If you can't, you have to start from where you are. It's easier to identify. And then once you identify it, you are able to move forward. It's a process. Learning is a process. Yeah? Okay. So you are going to have all this material there. Do you have any further questions? I have spoken a lot today. Marcelo here said, what number of students is ideal in a virtual classroom for English week at work? We have some dynamics that we have some individual supports, we have some small group supports, we have many tools that will be in your favor, and for each moment we are going to have different tools to be used. So this won't be a problem. Okay, so when you have to communicate, you're going to be able to have your opportunity to speak in the appropriate number. But I usually work with, like, if it's a talking class, like 2 or 3 students in a group. It's good to have this. Okay, people, what else do you have to tell me? For tomorrow, we have another talk again. Tomorrow is what is conversation in English at business environment. And I'm going to tell you very nice stories. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I'm almost well voiceless. I went to the United States a few months ago to participate in a corporate event with my husband. And so we were having this conversation, and you need to consider that conversation in English at business environment is not only in a meeting, not only in a meeting room, not only in your desk. Business environment also relates to these events. It was a pool party, like a pool, not a pool party. It was a party in a hotel, in a very beautiful hotel there in the United States, in Miami. And the dinner was served around the pool. So we were in a very nice environment, but people were talking in English. And how do you communicate there? And I talked to some American people there, and I'm going to share some stories with you tomorrow that are going to be really helpful for you to understand and change your view of that communication in English is only being perfect. Okay, first, spread the message. And I'll see you then tomorrow at 6:30. Okay, that was it. That's all for today, folks. Okay, bye everyone.